Planet F1 reports that the first spy shots from Barcelona just leaked, confirming everyone's fears that Adrian Newey hasn't merely tweaked the Aston Martin AMR26, but has completely rewritten the rulebook. Time in date confirms it is Friday, January 30th, 2026. The Formula One world has been holding its breath for this exact moment. Until yesterday, it was all just promises and rendering software. The 2026 regulations represent the biggest technical overhaul in the sport's history, with active aerodynamics, smaller chassis dimensions, and a power unit formula demanding a 50-50 split between electric and combustion power. Every team is starting from zero. Aston Martin is starting with a factory team engine deal from Honda and the brain of Adrian Newey, who officially clocked in at Silverstone back in March 2025, according to Aston Martin in F1. The AMR26 is the first car to carry his direct influence from the concept phase. As Racer documented yesterday afternoon, the garage doors rolled up behind closed doors at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, to reveal a statement rather than just a car. The blurry, long-lens photos circulating on social media show a machine that looks radically different from the mock-ups the FIA showed us last year. While the team tried to run a discreet shakedown in an all-black camouflage livery, the details visible through the gloom have sent rivals scrambling back to their simulators. The sidepods are where the Newey engineering usually excels. The spy shots reveal an extreme undercut that shouldn't be possible with the new chassis width restrictions. Most teams, including Mercedes, have gone for conservative, boxy inlets to house the larger 2026 radiators. Newey has gone the other way. The AMR26 features a razor-thin intake, suggesting Aston Martin has found a passive cooling breakthrough, allowing them to shrink the bodywork tightly around the Honda power unit. This creates a massive channel of clean airflow directly to the rear diffuser. It is aggressive, risky, and exactly the kind of high-reward engineering Newey is famous for. Critics said he wouldn't have enough time to influence the 2026 car after his non-compete with Red Bull ended last year. But these shapes make it obvious he didn't waste a single second. Under the engine cover, things are just as controversial. As Global Honda stated, this is the manufacturer's grand return as a proper works partner, rather than just a supplier. The new regulations remove the MGU-H heat recovery system, which was Honda's main strength in the Red Bull era. Now the challenge is all about battery density and deployment. Rumors from the Tokyo test benches late last year suggested Honda was struggling with the weight of the new battery pack needed for the 350 kilowatt electric boost mandated by Formula One. The packaging on the AMR26 tells a different story because the engine cover is incredibly tight, implying Honda has solved those thermal issues. If they have managed to pack that much electrical punch into a compact casing, Aston Martin will be fast in the corners and extremely quick on the straights when the driver engages the overtake mode. The debut was not perfect. Reports coming out of Barcelona indicate that the session didn't end smoothly. Lance Stroll was behind the wheel for the initial 200-kilometer filming run, when the car came to a halt in Sector 3. Trackside observers noted the car's safety LED lights activated, signaling an electrical isolation fault that forced a precautionary stop. The car was recovered, and despite the stoppage, the team remained open, with Lance Stroll later commenting that the car felt good during the initial run. This is the danger of pushing boundaries. With the new 2026 electrical systems being so dominant, a software glitch or a battery isolation fault can end the day instantly. Rival teams will be looking at that stoppage and hoping it signals reliability issues. But inside the Aston garage, they likely see it as the cost of ambition. If you are finding this breakdown of the 2026 grid interesting, hit subscribe and the notification bell as we cover breaking F1 technical stories like this every single week. The biggest visual change for 2026 is the active aerodynamics, where Aston Martin seems to be taking a unique approach. The regulations allow for Z mode for high downforce in corners and X mode for low drag on straights. Most teams have designed simple, movable wings that flip between two states. However, the race reports that the AMR26 rear wing end plates appear to have a flexible quality to them in the spy shots. It looks like the team is exploiting aeroelasticity to gain an advantage between the modes by creating a transition phase that keeps the car stable while shedding drag faster than anyone else. If Newey has found a way to make the active aero work harder than the rules intended, we could be looking at a controversy larger than the flexible wing issues of 2024. The development location of this car is also significant. For the last 7 years, Aston Martin, and previously Racing Point, had to rent time in Mercedes' wind tunnel. Before that, the team spent years commuting to Toyota's facility in Cologne. That ended last year. The AMR26 is the very first car developed 100% inside Aston's own state-of-the-art tunnel at Silverstone. This facility is a generation ahead of what even Red Bull or Ferrari are using, because it uses a continuous motion belt system that simulates cornering forces more accurately than anything else on the grid. When you combine Newey's brain with the best simulation tools on the planet, the correlation between the tunnel data and the track should be nearly perfect. That means upgrades will likely work effectively immediately. Fernando Alonso didn't sign that contract extension through 2026 just to drive in the midfield, but rather because he saw the numbers in the simulator. The Spaniard is 44 years old and has bet his entire legacy on this specific car. Sources close to the team say Alonso's feedback after his initial simulator runs in December was uncharacteristically optimistic. He reportedly told engineers that the car doesn't feel like a regulation reset, but feels like a continuation of the high downforce era. That is a daunting prospect for the rest of the grid. If the car is as compliant and drivable as he suggests, Alonso is the one driver who can extract every millionth from it. He has waited over a decade for a machine capable of fighting for a third title, and clearly believes this is that car. One detail that the black camouflage couldn't hide was the suspension geometry. The AMR26 is running a double pushrod setup on the front and rear, which goes against the grain of the pull rod trend dominating the last regulation cycle. The reason for the switch involves the floor. By moving the suspension elements higher up, Newey clears the airflow path to the floor leading edge underneath the car. The 2026 floors are narrower, making it harder to generate ground effect downforce. Aston Martin has prioritized clean air over mechanical center of gravity benefits. It is a trade-off, suggesting they have found so much performance in the floor that they can afford to compromise the suspension mechanics slightly. It is a classic Newey decision where aerodynamics takes precedence over everything else. The competition is now in a difficult position. Red Bull Ford is dealing with their own engine integration headaches, while Ferrari is reportedly one of the few teams close to the weight limit. Aston Martin has quietly positioned themselves as a serious contender. They have the money, the facilities, the engine, and the designer. The only question mark remaining is operational sharpness? We saw them make poor strategy calls back in 2023 and 2024. The team insists those errors are resolved. They have restructured the race engineering team and streamlined communication protocols. They know that if the AMR26 is as fast as it looks, the pressure will shift from building the car to ensuring they secure the wins it delivers. This shakedown alters the expectations for the 2026 preseason. Until yesterday, the general consensus anticipated a chaotic year where everyone struggled with the new rules. Aston Martin has shown up with a car that looks refined, finished, and frighteningly complex. If this design works, it validates Lawrence Stroll's aggressive strategy of buying success. It proves that you can build a super team from scratch if you have enough capital and patience. A dominant Aston Martin would disrupt the established order of Formula One in a way not seen since Brawn GP in 2009. It would challenge the new dominance of McLaren and force Mercedes and Red Bull to continue their chase. We're looking at a potential shift in power where the traditional leaders are overtaken by the team from Silverstone. The next few weeks of testing will reveal the true performance, but currently, the momentum is entirely in one garage. The 2026 season hasn't even started, yet Aston Martin has already made the first major move. Whether that move succeeds or fails is still uncertain, but the AMR26 is officially the car to watch. If you want to follow every development in this new F1 era, make sure to hit subscribe.